Hi, everyone, and welcome. Have you ever stopped to think about how you maybe subtly shift gears depending on who you're talking to? Like the
hmm
way your tone changes or maybe your posture, even the stories you tell, say with your boss versus, your best friend.
Yeah, definitely.
It's this sort of subtle dance we all do, almost without thinking, a constant tweaking of how we present ourselves.
Right.
And it's not really about being fake, is it? It's more about navigating, well, the super complex social world we live in.
Exactly.
So today we're going to pull back the curtain on this universal performance.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. What you're describing is really the core of impression management. It's a key concept in social psychology.
Impression management. Okay.
And it really came into focus with the work of Irving Goffman. His stuff from the mid-20th century was, well, groundbreaking. He saw social life through this really fascinating lens, the dramaturgical
This
perspective.
dramaturgical, like
Yeah,
draw.
precisely. He basically proposed that we are all, in a way, actors on a stage,
Hmm?
constantly performing roles for different audiences.
Wow.
Yeah, and consciously and unconsciously shaping how they see us. It's a powerful metaphor. Really helps understand our kind of fluid social selves.
That stage idea, it clicks immediately.
Mm-hmm.
You think about the deliberate ways, but also the instinctive stuff,
Mm-hmm.
how we portray ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like it's not just surface level, it's like deeply woven into how we live our lives.
It really is.
So, okay, our mission for this deep dive is to really unpack this whole idea of self-presentation. Not just what it is, but digging into the why, the motivations behind, the masks we sometimes wear.
Right, the drivers.
Yeah, and then we'll get into the actual strategies, the how-to, basically, that we use, often without even realizing it.
The playbook, so to speak.
Exactly. So get ready, because I think by the end of this, you'll start seeing this intricate dance everywhere. Casual chats, big public stages, and yeah, definitely in your own life.
You really will.
Okay, so let's dive into that core idea first, impression management. At its heart, it's about actively shaping your image.
Right. That's it. It's this dynamic process. Individuals trying to control or at least influence how others perceive them, their audience, essentially.
So think about it.
Mm.
Maybe you're aiming to look competent in a big meeting at work,
Mm-hmm.
or trying to be likable when you meet new people,
Mm-hmm.
or build trust or project confidence.
Mm.
That's all self-presentation.
It is strategically projecting a desired image. Maybe it's attractiveness, maybe intelligence, maybe just plain reliability.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, for you listening, what impression do you usually try to make in different spots?
And what's really interesting here, it isn't just vanity. It's not superficial, though it might seem like it sometimes.
Right.
It's actually a fundamental part of how humans interact, almost evolutionary, you could argue. We're not just passive, letting people form opinions. We're active architects of our social world.
Architects
You know,
like that.
we're constantly trying to create and maintain a certain image because, well, these images serve really important functions. They help us navigate the social world, get the outcomes we want.
Like a new friendship or closing a deal.
Exactly. Or even just having a pleasant chat. It's about having some agency in our social lives.
That makes total sense. Wanting to influence how people see us
Mhm.
feels less like an act and more like, yeah, a tool for getting along in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, let's unpack the why a bit more.
Yeah.
It sounds like it takes effort, right, to constantly manage these perceptions.
Oh, it definitely involves effort. Yeah.
So why do we bother? What are the big drivers pushing us to put on these, performances?
You're right. There's effort involved, but the payoff is usually worth it because it taps into some really fundamental human needs. We can kind of boil it down to 4 key motivations.
Okay, 4 motivations.
First, and this is a big one, is the need for social acceptance. We all have this deep inherent desire to be liked, to belong, to fit in with groups.
Yeah, nobody wants to be the odd one out.
Exactly, whether it's your friends, your colleagues, even a book club. Presenting a positive, agreeable image is, well, usually the main way to get that acceptance and avoid being rejected.
Makes sense. What's next?
Then there's professional advancement. Think about the workplace. It's competitive, right?
Definitely.
So how people see your competence, your reliability, your dedication, even leadership potential, that directly impacts your career. Big time.
Job interviews, performance reviews.
Absolutely. Interviews where you highlight your strengths, reviews where you show off what you achieve, even just daily interactions where you try to seem confident and trustworthy. Managing those impressions is crucial for getting ahead, for grabbing opportunities. It's about showing your value.
Okay, so acceptance, advancement, what else?
A third powerful one is relationship goals. And this is broad, attracting a romantic partner, but also building and keeping strong friendships.
Ah, right. Putting your best foot forward on first date.
Totally. You highlight your best qualities, maybe downplay things you're less proud of. But even in long-term relationships, we manage impressions to show we care, to navigate disagreements smoothly, reinforce commitment. It's about building and maintaining those important connections.
Yeah, you don't stop trying just because you're comfortable.
Not entirely, no. And finally, there's one that's maybe less obvious but super important: self-esteem maintenance.
How we feel about ourselves.
Exactly. Our own self-perception is heavily influenced by how we think others see us. Getting positive feedback, being seen as capable or respected, that boosts our self-esteem.
Yeah, the opposite is true too, I guess. Negative views can hurt.
They really can. So impression management becomes this vital way to protect and even enhance our sense of self-worth. It can be like a feedback loop.
It really does make so much sense when you lay it out like that.
Yeah.
Acceptance, getting ahead, relationships,
Yeah.
self-esteem. Who doesn't want those things?
Right. They're fundamental.
They feel less like abstract ideas and more like
Yeah.
core needs, almost like survival skills for the social jungle.
That's a good analogy.
What's interesting, though, is thinking about how those motivations might clash sometimes. Wanting to be liked might push you one way, but needing to seem competent might push you another.
Absolutely. That forces a tricky balance.
A constant negotiation, maybe.
Precisely. And that negotiation, that's where the real art of impression management comes in.
Okay, that's a great point. So this is where it gets really interesting for me. If we know why we do it, what's actually in the playbook, what are the specific strategies people use, consciously or, unconsciously?
Right, the how. Well, the playbook is pretty diverse, and honestly, once you know what to look for, you'll start spotting these strategies everywhere. Let's break down 5 common ones.
Okay, 5 strategies. Let's hear them.
First up is ingratiation. This is basically using flattery, praise, or doing favors to seem more likable, trying to, curry favor.
Well, complimenting the boss?
Exactly. Someone says, wow, that presentation was brilliant. I learned so much. The goal isn't just being polite. It's to be seen as friendly, supportive, agreeable, hoping to get in their good graces.
Or maybe that colleague who's always offering to help with little things.
Yep, always smiling. That taps into reciprocity. You do something nice for me, I feel more positive towards you.
Ah, so that's the fancy term for, well, maybe sucking up sometimes. Huh. I've definitely seen
I
that.
could say that, yeah. It has its less flattering interpretations. Okay, next is self-promotion. This is where you actively highlight your achievements, your skills, your good qualities to seem really competent and capable.
Okay, this sounds familiar, like in a job interview.
Perfect example. Someone doesn't just say they led projects, they quantify it. I boosted client retention by 15%. They're actively showing off their skills to impress.
Or maybe a student volunteering for the heart group project.
Right. Not just to help out, but maybe to show off their organizational skills or initiative.
I think we all do versions of that, especially when the stakes are high. But, when does that cross the line into just bragging? Can it backfire?
Oh, absolutely. It's a very delicate balance. Effectiveness often depends on whether it feels authentic and if the claims seem, believable. Overdo it, and yeah, it can totally have the opposite effect.
Right. Okay, what's number 3?
Number 3 is maybe less obvious. It's called supplication. This is when someone presents themselves as needy or helpless, maybe even incompetent, to get sympathy or help, or sometimes to dodge responsibility.
Like a student saying they're totally overwhelmed right before a deadline.
Precisely. I've got this personal crisis. I'm just so lost on this assignment. Hoping for an extension or maybe just some leniency. Using vulnerability strategically.
Or someone playing dumb in a meeting so they don't get assigned the tough job.
That's another classic example.
Oof. That one feels a bit manipulative, maybe. Playing on people's kindness.
It certainly can be, yeah. It walks a fine line.
I feel like I've been on the receiving end of that, wondering if the helplessness is real or... Yeah. Strategic.
Yeah.
Hard to know sometimes.
It really is. Okay, number 4 is exemplification. This is about presenting yourself as morally worthy, really dedicated, maybe self-sacrificing, often to make others feel guilty or just admire you.
How does that look in practice?
Think of someone who consistently stays late at work and makes sure people see them staying late, burning the midnight oil, even if it's not totally necessary.
Ah, the model employee performance.
Exactly. The goal is to be seen as super dedicated, a real team player. Or maybe a public figure taking a very visible pay cut for the good of the cause, or to show solidarity.
So it's not just being good, it's making sure the goodness is seen. A performance of virtue.
You got it. And finally, number 5, intimidation. This one's about projecting power, authority, maybe even a hint of danger or strictness to get people to comply.
Okay, like a strict boss.
Yeah, imagine a manager introducing some unpopular new rules. They might really emphasize their authority, maybe mention the consequences for not following along, use a firm tone, strong eye contact.
Using power to get people in line.
Right. It's a display of power to control subordinates, make sure directives are followed. It can work in the short term for compliance, definitely, but often it damages trust and morale down the line.
Wow. Okay, so from subtle compliments to like overt power plays, that's a huge range of behaviors.
It really is.
It's amazing how these strategies show up in such specific ways once you have the labels for them. And I guess they're not just used in isolation, right? They're woven into everyday life.
Absolutely. And this isn't just theory. You see it constantly in so many real-world situations. It's actually fascinating how pervasive impression management is across all sorts of contexts, often without us even thinking about it.
Where do we see it most often?
Well, the workplace, as we touched on, is a huge one. It's constant. From the moment you interview, choosing clothes, words carefully.
Managing impressions from minute one.
Exactly. Seeking promotions, navigating office politics, even just team meetings. You're always shaping how colleagues and bosses see you. Maybe using self-promotion in a presentation or ingratiation with the senior person you admire. It's an ongoing kind of high-stakes game.
Okay, workplace makes sense. Where else?
Social media. Oh boy, this is maybe one of the most obvious stages for it today, isn't it?
For sure, the curated feeds.
Totally. People carefully picking posts, choosing filters, crafting captions, all to project a certain lifestyle or identity or values. It's highly controlled, an idealized version of self.
Every share is like a little calculation.
Pretty much. It's where that idea of self-monitoring, constantly adjusting your public self, really gets amplified.
Okay, social media is a big one. What else?
Dating and relationships. Just as common there. When you first meet someone, you're almost always presenting an idealized version, right? Highlighting the good stuff, maybe glossing over flaws, making that great first impression.
Yeah, definitely.
But even in established relationships, we still do it. Maybe to keep the affection going, or smooth over conflict, or just show we're committed.
Makes sense. And you mentioned one more.
Yes, politics. Leaders are often, well, masters of impression management. Think about it. Their speeches are meticulously crafted, public appearances carefully staged, media interactions managed, even their body language.
Every handshake, every photo op.
Exactly. It's all part of shaping public perception, rallying support, projecting strength or empathy or vision. Every soundbite is part of their self-presentation strategy.
Yeah, you really can see it everywhere once you start looking. From, like you said, a tense boardroom meeting to scrolling through Instagram to watching the news. It really is everywhere in human interaction, especially now in this super connected digital age where almost anything can feel like a public performance.
It's become amplified for sure.
So, okay, what does this all mean for us, for our interactions? It sounds like there are good sides and bad sides to all this image management.
Absolutely. It's very much a double-edged sword. The balance is really delicate.
What's the good side?
Well, on the positive side, when it's done well, impression management genuinely helps people fit in. It helps us build social networks, which are vital for support, belonging, working together.
Yeah.
And like we said, it's a key tool for professional success. Getting jobs, moving up, presenting yourself as competent, trustworthy, likable. That really does open doors and make cooperation easier. In a way, it helps society function more smoothly.
Okay, so it can be really functional. But what's the downside?
Well, the negative side is significant too. If it goes too far, or if the intent is just manipulative, it can easily slide into dishonesty, outright deception even.
Presenting a totally false self.
Right, to get an unfair advantage.
Yeah.
And also, think about the effort involved. Constantly keeping up a facade that isn't really you. That can be incredibly draining. It can lead to burnout, cognitive dissonance, a real psychological toll.
Yeah, I can imagine that's exhausting.
It really is. And then, if people find out about the inconsistencies, if the mask slips, trust is broken, relationships get damaged, sometimes beyond repair, it can lead to cynicism, a breakdown in social connection. It's always this tension, between being genuine and being strategic.
That tension between authenticity and presentation.
Yeah,
That's really fascinating, and maybe one of the biggest struggles in modern life, right?
I think so.
It makes you wonder, how much of our self is actually fixed and how much is, I don't know, fluid, adapting all the time.
And that's precisely the core psychological insight you get from studying this. Impression management really shows us that identity isn't some fixed, solid thing.
It's not.
Not really. Instead, it seems incredibly flexible, deeply dependent on context. Who you are, or at least how you present yourself, it shifts dynamically, depends on your audience, the situation, your goals in that moment.
So it's like a negotiation.
Exactly. It highlights this constant, often unconscious negotiation between what we might call our real self, our genuine thoughts and feelings, and our performed self, the version we put out there for a specific reason. So maybe our true self is less like a fixed core and more like a dynamic tapestry woven from all our interactions and hopes.
That's a deep thought. Maybe a little unsettling, too.
It can be.
It makes you question how much of what we show the world is really us versus a performance. It makes me think, for you listening now, how does this apply to your life? Can you recognize those moments? Negotiating between the real and the performed self. And what does that tell you about who you are? Well, we have certainly gone deep today into this whole intricate art of social self-presentation.
We have.
We looked at its roots with Goffman, dug into the powerful motivations behind it, and uncovered these varied strategies we all use to shape how people see us.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear. Impression management isn't just some academic idea. It's fundamental. It's happening all around us all the time.
And really, understanding it isn't just about spotting it in other people. It's also about gaining maybe a deeper awareness of that subtle dance happening inside ourselves.
It's that negotiation.
Yeah, that constant negotiation between our real self and our performed self. And that brings up a question for you, the listener, to maybe think about later. In what situations do you feel the most pressure to manage your impression? And what does that negotiation in that specific moment reveal about your identity right then? Thinking about that can offer some really profound insights into your own social world.
That is a truly powerful thought to leave everyone with. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
And for all of you listening, now that you're armed with this knowledge, go out there and observe, not just other people, but yourself too. Reflect on how these fascinating strategies play out in the grand theater of life. Until next time.